Wine is the story of a year. In a place, captured in a bottle. Take a sip. Close your eyes, then picture the place. The way the soil smells. Feel the breeze. Hear the rustle of the leaves on the vines. Each bottle has a story to tell. A winemaker's passion for a style or varietal, the variations of soil, giving character to the wine, the way the air moves. Your senses tell you the story of that beautiful liquid in your glass. All this culminates in what you find in the bottle. This is different for each region, for each vineyard. Discovering the culinary delights of a region that pair perfectly with the region's wines. Perfect for sharing with friends. Taking in the natural beauty of a place. All of this meshes together as we create memories of the places we've discovered. The people we've met, the food we've shared. The conversations we had, the wine we tasted and enjoyed. All this is weaved into magical moments and stories to be shared. All of this comes together in the journey of discovering wine country. Valtenesi. Located in northern Italy, the region hugs the western shore of Lake Garda on the Lombardia side. Lake Garda is the largest freshwater lake in Italy. Formed by shifting tectonic plates and glaciers migrating south, the lake is 346 meters at its deepest point and spans 370 square kilometers. From north to south, it runs 52 kilometers and is 17 kilometers at its widest point. Its edges wash ashore in Veneto to the southeast, Trentino-Alto Adige to the northeast, and Lombardia to the west. This large body of water deeply affects the climate of the region. It sits in a place so far inland that the climate would typically be continental, cold in the winter, hot in the summer. But here, this expansive body of water helps moderate the climate, making winter not as cold and summer not as hot. Citrus and olive trees thrive in this mild sub-Mediterranean climate, and the region is a haven for tourists in the summer months. Each year, this region enjoys 3,000 hours of sunshine, and winter temps rarely drop below 7 degrees Celsius. That's 44 degrees Fahrenheit. Valtenesi is known for the indigenous grape Gropello that they make into a rosé-style wine they call Chiaretto. Gropello is the primary grape, but it may be blended with Marzemino, Barbera, and or Sangiovese. You will see wines in hues from onion skin to fuchsia and in multiple saturations, but one of their most prized styles is the Momenti method. Pompeo Momenti was a senator from Venice who was the mayor of Moniga del Garda. He traveled often to France and was taken by the pale rosé wines they made in Provence. He returned to the region to make rosé in a similar method with the native grapes of the region. The Momenti method is called the wine of a single night, as the grapes are left on their skins for just a single night to absorb the pale pink color. The first wines in this style were made in 1896. This is the perfect wine, of course, for enjoying at the lakeshore in the summer. The Valtenesi region covers the lake shoreline and inland area from Salo in the northwest to Desenzano on the southern point of the lake, covering about 20 kilometers of lakeshore and expanding west. The soils around Lake Garda are morainic soils of glacial origin, which really means soils picked up and dragged along the bottom of a glacier. So this debris, left behind as the glacier migrates south, comes from many regions further north and has been ground down as the glacier moves. Here in Valtènesi, there are over 67 different soil types. When you say Valtènesi, the wine that comes to mind should be the beautiful Gropello-based rosé, but there are other wines in the region. The region is beautiful, a Mediterranean getaway in the north, with a lake shore, beautiful gardens, and delicious wines. We began our day in Valtenisi with a drive to the western shore of Lake Garda. Our guide was Yuri Pagani, who handles promotional events and communications for the Consorzio Valtenesi. He is the perfect ambassador for Valtenesi, deeply knowledgeable on the region and enthusiastic about the wine. Yuri chose to start our day at the beautiful Vitoriale degli Italiani to give us a bit of background on the region and a deeper sense of place. Yuri told us the area is overflowing with tourists in the summer. Now, in the quieter fall, the drive on the shore of the lake was much quieter. We took in the views as we headed north and arrived at the Vitoriale degli Italiani. This was the one-time residence of Gabriele D'Annunzio. Annunzio is one of the most important Italian poets of the last century. He was a bit mad, Yuri tells us. We pulled up a side street to a circular cobbled entrance and were greeted by olive trees and an arched entrance. As we strolled in, we were a bit overwhelmed. There were stunning photos everywhere. Our view of the lake was broken up by beautiful sculptures and art. These were eclectic. The day was overcast, the air thick over the lake, giving everything a soft glow. We could see a small island off the shore. We walked through the outdoor amphitheater. The backdrop for the stage was the gorgeous lake view. Windows and porticos, stone and vine, we were enveloped in beauty, and it was hard to keep us moving. Every step brought another enchantment that cried out to be photographed. Even the cobblestones were photogenic. We stopped at a small vineyard beside the olive grove, maintained by the Consorzio. The vines are arranged as stars or asterisks instead of rows. This was the symbol that D'Annunzio used for his signature. The vines here are young and are all Gropello, the indigenous grape of this region. We headed up a hill on a path next to a ravine. Small bridges and paths went along the ravine, with stone stairs peeking through the lush green of the undergrowth. Pathways crisscrossed, stairs going up and down, almost like an Ashore painting. We come upon a planted grove of magnolia trees, shaded with standing stone pillars that almost make you feel like you were in Bali. This is the Orengo, with 27 pillars, D'Annunzio's way of commemorating the Italian victories at World War I. We continued up the Giardina e Frutteto, the garden and orchard. Roses of all colors bloomed in the gardens. There were Buddha's hands, that strange-looking citrus. Bougainvillea and other vines covered the trellis patios. We strolled back through the courtyard of the Schiavoni and the Praioria, D'Annunzio's residence, under archways with wooden ceilings and beautifully painted patterns. Wooden doorways offer glimpses into other gardens and courtyards. The relief work was captivating. Up we went along the brick paths with stairs here and there, gradually climbing the slope. We walked through the secluded gardens with the fountains to the Dolphin Fountain, with its bronze statue of Aphrodite with a dolphin. Now we head to the royal ship Puglia, given to D'Annunzio by the Italian Navy. It is mounted on the hill with its bow facing the Adriatic Sea, in memory of its captain, Tommaso Gulli. We strolled out onto the deck of the Puglia, which is by far the park's most striking and eccentric feature. The masts, the anchors, and chains. The ship's bell seemed so odd, landlocked as it was, with trees to the starboard and port, and the mountain to the aft. There is a small room on the deck with the story of the ship, including photos of the vessel being mounted into the hill. Now it was time to head to our next stop. As we strolled back to the entrance, we took in the rivers, the buildings, and even the stunning lanterns. Our next stop would have us tasting the rosé wines of Valtènesi. After our morning at Vittoriale, we headed south along the lake, past olive trees, climbing higher and further from the lake, giving us expansive views. We arrive at Villa Galdica, the Valtenesi House of Wine, where the Consorzio has its offices and a tasting room to showcase the beautiful Chiaretto rosés that they make in the region. We entered through the cobblestone patio, which was set up for lunch for us. But first, we were greeted by Alessandro Luzago, who was at the time the president of the Consorzio Valtenesi Riviera del Garda.
Valtenesi is the historical name of the hills west of the lake. So between where you're sleeping in Desenzano and where you've been this morning, Gardone. All this area is called Valtenesi. And we produce wines here since the Roman time, so 2000 years, like in other parts of Italy. But in the last 60, 70 years, the time that in Italy they made the DOC, the Denomination d'Origine Contrôlée, the quality is first and then identity.
We walked into the tasting room. The room was lined with backlit bottles in vivid shades of pink and salmon. Alessandro explains their marketing and the deep meaning behind these images.
See those 5 illustrations at the end of the... So we asked to an illustrator to make one, how do you call it, a draw of 5 different things. And the second one, starting from right, this is our grape, the Gropello. We have one grape that is only here. Nobody has out of Valtènesi. So this is very strongly important for our identity. And we have a project to improve the quality, so we are selectioning some clones of this grape. The second is that one. You see this old man with a mustache and a woman. This is something that is at the end of 19th century, a senator of the Italian government coming from Venice married that woman that was living in Valtenesi with property. And he was going in France sometimes for his political work and coming back with the passion of the vineyard and the producing wine, brought a kind of idea of making rosé wine. So this is demonstrating that here rosé is not the market that is asking us the wine. There is a story that we are bringing in the centuries. And then the third is that one, the idea to have 2 generations. In this area, all the farms are of a family. So there is a very strong relation between the producers and the territory. We have a very particular climate. We are, they call the Garda Lake the Mediterranean of North, because we have mountains of 2,000 meters and a warm climate of south. Also we have olives, and olives in the north are only around the lake.
Before us, multiple tables were lined up with Chiarettos from all the producers in the Consorzio. There were 53 of these beautiful rosés for us to sample. After tasting, we headed back out for our light lunch on the patio. We took in the lake view as we headed back to the van to drive a bit further south to Piscine San Giovanni, where we would meet Paolo Piscine and taste his award-winning Chiarettos. All this is weaved into magical moments and stories to be shared. All of this comes together in the journey of discovering wine country.